Spectre is officially out on PS4. I had a couple people ask in the previous video whether this is currently out on Xbox. The answer is no, this is not out on Xbox until next Tuesday. However, the weapons updates, in other words, they buffed a bunch of the SMGs, is live on Xbox. That is the only thing. As far as the rest of the update, including Spectre, that is currently just on PS4. So I thought I would make a video talking about the intricate details revolving around Spectre, how both of his abilities work, what's the best way to use them, and how you can use them to your advantage to get the most possible kills. Now, speaking of Spectre, I'm actually going to be playing as Spectre and using the new weapon tonight on my live stream. It'll be the first link down in the description. And in fact, as this video goes live, I am streaming right now. So if you check out the first link down in the description, I'm actually doing an open lobby, which means if you guys have the maps, it actually gives you a chance to play some Black Ops 4 with me. So if you're interested in that, like I said before, first link down in the description, and hopefully I see you there. Now, where to start with Spectre? I guess the best place to start is just with his main ability, the Shadow Blade. So the Shadow Blade is good. It is not as good as the Ripper from Black Ops 3. Now, the main reason why it's not as good as the Ripper is because with the Ripper, you could run around with your primary weapon and have your Ripper ready to go in case someone got too close, and you could call it in at any time. Unlike that, this game, you pull out your sword and have to run around with a sword, so you can't kill anyone at a range. That is the main difference. The rest of the stuff is very, very similar. So first of all, if you have the blade out and you get close enough to kill someone, a little red X will appear on your enemy, just like it did in Black Ops 3. That is how you know you're within range. That is how you know you can kill the person. This range is pretty damn long. Like, it's a good range. I don't think it needs to be any longer. If anything, they're probably going to make it smaller. Now, as far as the Shadow Blade against other things like kill streaks, they don't work that well. So what I mean by that is in Black Ops 3, it would actually lock on to the kill streak, whereas in this game, you just have to kind of stand in it or beside it, and then it will actually deal damage to it. This goes with pretty much any ground-based score streak. However, there is something with the Shadow Blade that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize you can actually throw the Shadow Blade. If you hold left trigger to aim down sights and then press right trigger, it actually throws the Shadow Blade at an enemy. The thing is when you throw the Shadow Blade, your specialist ability is then done. You can't pick it back up or anything like that. Your specialist ability is just done. Now, the cool thing about this is that this is going to pretty much one-shot kill anything. It'll one-shot kill a strike team, Mantis, sentry gun, people. I haven't tested this yet against helicopters and stuff like that, but don't worry, we'll get there in a future video. But once again, remember that if you do throw the sword, your specialist ability is over. However, if you're getting close to the end of your specialist ability and you see someone off in the distance, it's actually worth trying to throw this at them because your specialist ability is going to be over soon anyway. Now, the last and in my opinion, the coolest thing about the Shadow Blade is that when you use it, you go into third person and you can roll around, hop, jump, do backflips, anything to get out of your enemy's bullets. The key to doing well with the Shadow Blade is using this ability properly, making sure that you use it to dodge bullets and not to get too far away from your enemy so you can't slice them up. It's kind of hard to get used to, and there's definitely a learning gap there before you're actually going to do well with it. However, my best advice for doing well and excelling with the Shadow Blade is, first of all, pair it with your smoke, which we're going to talk about in a second. But essentially, the smoke is going to allow you to close the gap between your enemy, get closer, and be able to kill them with a sword. On top of that, you want to use it when you're in a confined space. So when you're inside a building, when the rooms are relatively small, you don't want to use it right when you spawn in and have to run across the map with your sword out. Because like I said, unlike Black Ops 3, you can't run around with your weapon out and then slice them up instantly. You have to pull the sword out first and then attack them. Now, as far as the charge up time, it's 8 minutes without getting any kills. As soon as you get kills and get score, it's going to be faster. But as far as compared to the other abilities in the game, this is actually relatively quickly. It's not nowhere near as fast as Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 was like 1.5 minutes, and that's another reason why it was so powerful in that game. In this game, it is much longer. Generally speaking, I will get 2 to 3 of these in a game, depending on what game mode I'm in. Now, this is definitely not the best specialist weapon in the game. However, it is a lot of fun, and I really like to see that in any game. Something that doesn't necessarily have to be overpowered or incredible, but the fact that it's fun to use is going to keep me playing as Spectre. Now, moving on to his next ability, the Smoke. The Smoke isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but it is useful in certain game modes. So essentially the way that this one works is you throw your smoke down on the ground, and then if an enemy is in the radius of the smoke, you can actually see them through, like a vision pulse almost. Now, when I was first trying this out, I really thought Cold-Blooded would counter this. Cold-Blooded does not counter the smoke. So no matter what class you're using, if you see someone call in the smoke, take a step back. You want to be out of it, because as soon as you're in the smoke, in fact, if you're even like about 3 feet around the smoke, you're going to show up on the enemy's screen and they're going to know where you are, and Spectre's very easily going to be able to kill you. Now, in a game mode like Team Deathmatch, this ability isn't that great. All it basically does is shut down a choke point for a little while, because you know the enemy's not going to run through there unless they do, and then you just kill them really easily. However, in objective game modes, especially domination and hardpoint, this is incredible. Reason being, if you need to capture B, throw that smoke down on it and boom. All of a sudden, it's very easy to capture that point. Now, they might throw grenades or stuff like that on it. You got to be careful of that. But other words, you're covered, and if they come to get you, you can see them coming. Now, another smaller detail about the smoke that is pretty interesting is that if you're playing Team Deathmatch and 2 people on your team are playing as Spectre and your teammate throws down a smoke, you are actually able to see through it as a Spectre. If an enemy throws down a smoke, you cannot see through it. So it's important to pay attention to whose smoke is actually there, because if it's a teammate, you can use it to your advantage, but like I said, only if you're playing as a Spectre. So what are my thoughts on Spectre? So it's kind of hard to say at this point because I've only played 10 games as Spectre, but based off of how I've played and how his abilities have worked out, it seems like he's a little bit underpowered. And the only reason why I say that is because to use your specialist ability, you first have to pull it out. And I think the way to fix this would be to reduce the range where the sword actually works, but make it so that as soon as it's charged up, you can use it instantly. So as soon as you pull it out, you can attack instead of having to pull it out and then attack, similar to the way it was in Black Ops 3. I think it would be overpowered if you could run around with your weapon out and then be able to pull your sword out very quickly. So I think that design is good, but I still think that's underpowered. As far as the smoke grenade goes, I think it serves its exact purpose. I'm pretty sure it is designed to take objectives in objective modes, so that works perfectly. I don't think that needs to be changed at all. That being said, though, even though I say that maybe a little buff could be used in that circumstance for the Shadow Blade, I also think that there can be a lot learned still for me, because as far as Spectre goes, I think there's a little bit of a learning gap, and I've talked about that. Mixing his rolling ability with attacking, if done properly, is very, very powerful, and still to this point, I'm not really good at it. It's something I'm going to be working on the live stream tonight, and I'm sure I'll get better at it the more I play as Spectre. And once I'm good as that, I believe that Spectre will become another animal, and then maybe it'll be overpowered. But like I said, as of right now, I think it's in a pretty good place. The lunge range is very long, and I don't like how long it takes to pull out and then attack someone. But aside from that, I think it's in a pretty good spot. The reason why I'm assuming a lot of you are here is to see whether or not Spectre is Jessica Mason Green, and I don't have an answer yet. I still think so based off of the previous videos where we talked about it. However, for me to figure it out based off of Spectre being added into the game, I am not 100% sure. I'm going to have to dig into Spectre's voice lines and look at a bunch of things, and then at that point I will be able to tell whether or not it is Jessica Mason. And of course, once I figure that out, I will be making a video on it, but as of right now, it's a little bit too early to tell. Now, for those of you who keep asking why I call Spectre a he, I don't really know why. It's a pronoun. That's what I call it, him, her, whatever. It's just me making a mistake, I guess. So as far as that goes, don't look too deep into that. I know a lot of people were. Now, that is Spectre in a nutshell. Hopefully I answered all your questions, and if you have any more, either you can ask down in the comments below, or on top of that, you can just go right over to Twitch, which will be the first link down in the description, and ask me live over on stream. Now, I do have a lot of other videos planned for Operation Spectre Rising, so if you're interested in that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and have notifications on, as it's the best way to stay up to date on all my videos. And of course, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I always appreciate it if you do hit that like button. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are real.